Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of A Drummer's Guide to. So this week I'm going to give you my 3 top tips on how to maintain a relationship on the road whilst you're touring. Now this can be a romantic relationship, this can be a family, maintaining your family relationship, or just friendship basically. But these are, it's tough. It's tough touring when you're away a lot from your family and friends and your partner or whatever. It can cause a strain on relationships. I know that I have definitely experienced that. I've had relationships completely break down. I've had complete successes when I've been away. It just depends on, it does depend on the person, whether that's romantically or maybe even just friendship or maybe even a family member not understanding your job and what you do. It's unreasonable to expect people to truly understand the life of touring. It's a weird life. It's a weird bubble that you end up in. And, I speak plenty about sort of tour bubbles and, when you come off tour and that kind of nightmare and the fallout of that and, the lead up to a tour. It's such a strange lifestyle. We're up late. We're, playing gigs. There's a lot of adrenaline involved. There's a lot of tiredness involved. You become very, very close to the people that you're touring with, hopefully, if it's a nice tour. It can be difficult to deal with, but I want to give you the 3 ways that I have found through personal experience and through seeing other people actually do this that really, really help. I'm not saying that it's perfect. I'm not saying that it will fix everything, but it's helped in my experience. So the first thing that I'd say, the first thing that I would actually say is to try and explain what your day-to-day life is like on tour. This is before you go. Don't do this once you're on the road. Oh, by the way, and this is what my daily life looks like. Unless you don't know, actually, which is fair to say. But you can say that to whoever this person is. You can just be like, look, I don't know what it's going to be like, so give me a few days to just get with the program and get with the routine, and then I'll let you know what is realistic. So okay, let's get into it. So once you're on the road, the first thing that I would do is I would set aside a certain time every day to get in touch with the person that you're trying to maintain this relationship with. And that, obviously, schedules always change, but there are certain times that you will have downtime, for instance, straight after sound check. And yes, that might not be exactly the same time every day, but it will be roughly the same time. There will probably be a few hours, so maybe stick 20 minutes in between those 3 hours that you probably will be free, and just make the effort to kind of call and catch up and just be like, how's your day been, and just kind of let them know what's been going on. What I would also say is maybe don't be honest about what's going on, but make sure that there's positives and negatives to what you're saying. Because I know for me, I've suffered with this where I will only say if I'm having a horrible time, and that's horrible for someone to hear at home, because I've been at the other end of that phone call, and it's like, you end up dreading that phone call, like, oh my god, I'm about to get 20 minutes of misery and moaning, and because the person at the other end, if they don't know this world, will probably be going, well, if it's that awful, why have you literally just up sticks and left to go and do something that you're not even enjoying? Why are you doing that? So be mindful of what you're saying in every respect, but obviously be honest. You can only be honest, and that is something. But also, the very act of making sure that you carve out that time shows that person that they mean a lot to you. You haven't just up sticks and left and not even thinking about them or anything like that, because I'm sure that that's not the case. However, when that person is at home and they're just doing their thing or whatever they're doing, they're probably thinking of you and probably thinking, well, are they even thinking of me? If they get that phone call and, you're able to have a nice conversation, then that's really, really nice. Like I say, chat about work or whatever. Their work, your work, what else you've been up to, blah, 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 blah. fine. So that's the first very easy, is it easy? Hopefully it's easy thing, is just carve out a bit of time to speak every day. I would suggest over the phone as well, only because text can get misconstrued quite easily and you don't know how the other person is necessarily feeling at that time. So yeah, and just try and be open and honest, and you know, from both sides, just, you know, if they're feeling a bit vulnerable or a bit, you know, shaky or whatever, talk about it. It's good. The second thing I did, or do rather, I say did because I've been on tour with my husband a lot recently, so we don't need to do this. Well, I suppose we do it in a way, but in person. So the second thing that I found out is a really cool thing to do, and I suggest this to a lot of people, and it works for them as well, is I arrange a Skype date once a week, because, you know, schedules would generally, you'd hope, unless you're on the most mental schedule ever, you would hope that one of those days you will have a day off, right? Out of a week, you'd hope that you would have at least one day off. And on that day, depending on the time difference and whatever else, I would arrange a Skype date with, you know, whoever this person is, whether it is your partner, your friend, your family member, whatever. And for me and my husband, when we first got together, when we were on separate tours, he would be in the States and I would be in the UK. And we would have dates where I would be having dinner and he would be having like breakfast or brunch or whatever. The rule was we weren't allowed to talk about work at all. No work talk. We could only talk rubbish. Absolute rubbish, which is our favourite thing to talk about. Not literal rubbish, like, you know, bin bags. Like, just nothing. And sometimes we would arrange it so that we would watch a film together, like do like a screen sharing type thing. It didn't always work. It was a bit sort of like flaky sometimes. But doing something like that really was, you know, it's not perfect, but to just spend that time together was just really, really nice and normalised. And if you're the person on the road, those are moments of normal life and just centering yourself with someone that knows you for you, and you know that when you're with them it's like, whew, life is good. And I'm not saying that, you know, there aren't stresses and stuff, which there are, and life things, but to have that time that you've taken together, like I say, to talk about nothing, as it were, and just chill with each other, absolutely invaluable. And again, makes the other person feel very valued and cared for and not forgotten about. I think that's the biggest thing. I think when you're on the road, I think the other person can feel like they're being forgotten about, because they might see all the pictures that you put up or whatever. Oh, look at this amazing stuff, blah, blah, and they just go, oh, they don't even care. They're not even thinking about it. Look at them having their rock and roll lifestyle. And am I being thought of? No. So, you know, you do need to be mindful of these things. Right, the third thing, and this is like, I've done this a few times. I haven't done it in a while. Like I say, me and my husband, we've been on tours together for a few years now. But in fact, I did something for him when he came home off the last tour that we did separately. But I will probably do this again at some point, maybe next year or something. So, little story. The first year we were together, in fact, no, yeah, the first year we were together, we'd done a tour together. That's how we met. We got together and then we went on, well, no, that was it. We went on separate tours. So he went off with Howard Jones and I went off to work with The Darkness. So we'd only been together for maybe 3 months or something like that, and we were about to be apart for 2 months, which is bonkers. And we were obviously in that very like, oh, we were just obsessed with each other. I mean, we still are, but like, oh, he's the best. So yeah, we were completely obsessed with each other. I was, oh my gosh, how am I going to not live with you for like 2 months? This is crazy. So what I did, because I just wanted him to know how, like, we knew that this was going to be hard for various reasons. So what I did was I created this, I mean, bless him, it was like a box. Bear in mind, he's going on tour for 3 months or whatever. And he's got a massive suitcase. I'm just going to give you this box as well to put in your suitcase. This box of things that I'd made for every day. Something for him to open, something for him to read, or something like that. So I gave it all to him in this box so that he knew that I was thinking of him, and you know how much I cared, and just how much I loved him, basically. And this one thing of creating this package, basically, it made for something for him to look forward to every day. That's what he said. He said it really got me through that, because no matter what was going on, if I was stressed, if the tour was stressful, if I was really missing you, I knew that at the end of the day I had something, like a little present to open that was from you, that just made everything okay. And I was like, and it was just the best thing ever. So we would do that occasionally, and say he went away and I was at home, he would like leave little notes or little presents for me to find, or he would send a random bunch of flowers or whatever one of the days, and just be like, oh, I'm just thinking of you, or whatever. Those little moments of like thought and effort, and those little special moments really just, it made it okay, you know. And especially if they're unexpected, then that really, really helps. And I often say that to people if they're struggling with their other half or their family or whatever, and it's just like, well, why don't you just send them something really nice, little? It doesn't have to be some big thing. It's the thought of it more than anything. And I tour with someone who, oh, I love this. Every time he goes away, for his now wife, he records a song for her, and then gives it to her the day that he leaves. I think it's one song, or maybe it's a few songs, and they're fun songs. They're not like serious songs. They're like, because he loves making up songs, and it's just like, I think it's just the sweetest thing ever. So I'm not the only one that does this, but I think it really makes a difference, because it really is like, we all love what we do, and you know, I'm sure your family, your friends, your partners, whatever, know that. If they know you, they know that you love what you do. But I think to know that they love you as well, and that you're still thinking about them, although you're away doing what you love, it's not that you don't want to be with them right now, if that makes sense. So those are my 3 ways that I think is a really good way of maintaining relationships on the road, because it is hard, you know, schedules are weird, and it can be hard to talk, especially openly, and maybe even getting the space to talk. If you're on a tour bus the whole time, you know, you're very close quarters. But the other thing that you realise, that everyone's trying to maintain their relationships as well on the road. So, you know, we would always share like what we're up to, and like try and help each other, like, oh, have you tried this, or maybe you could do that, or, you know, so everyone's trying to do this thing. So yeah, I think that's it. If you just make sure you have a little bit of time every day that you can chat to them, preferably on the phone, maybe even over Skype or FaceTime, just so you can see the face. That's the other weird thing, is that when you're talking on Skype or FaceTime, you don't look in people's eyes, because obviously you're looking like at the camera, so you mostly see people like that, not looking at the camera, looking at the screen. So they're like that rather than actually looking in your eyes, and there's something weird about that, and that makes, for me at least, I like looking in people's eyes when I talk to them. So yeah, talk every day if you can, just even if it's a quick 5-minute conversation, and try and be open and understanding and of each other's situations and the way that you're feeling, because it's a nightmare. A Skype date every week where you're not allowed to talk about work, and you have to just talk rubbish, maybe have dinner together and chat, or maybe watch a film together and whatever. So that's good. And then the third one is leave little secret presents kicking about the place. Yeah, that's a really fun one. Yeah, that's a really fun one. I like that one a lot. It takes a lot of effort, but man alive, is it worth it. So yeah, that's what I would say to do. But if you're going on tour, I hope that you're all prepared and ready to go. And yeah, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to maintain relationships, but it is possible. I'm living proof. I know many people that are, so you've got to work at it, and it will be worth it, I promise. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna leave you. In fact, I'm gonna go for a walk now with my husband to the shop, and we're going to go buy some dinner for tonight. Yay! Alright, I will see you next week for another subject, and if you have any suggestions of things you'd like me to talk about, leave them in the comments below. Also, make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of my lovely rambling. I bet you love it. Anyway, I will see you next week. I'll love you. I'll leave you. Mwah. Hope you're well, and I'll speak to you soon. Alright, see you later, guys. Bye! to the